Next, we've got John Bly with us, co-managing member of LBA Haynes Strand, PLLC. Did I say that right, John?
Oh, yeah. You got it.
And,
hey, John.
How are you?
You know, I'm not sure I've ever even told you this, but I ran into John, it's probably been 3 years ago, and your firm had a person that was focused on marketing for your firm that was part of a group that I was in, and I got to know this person. They aren't part of your firm anymore because it's been a few years ago. But I sat down and talked with him, and I heard a lot of things that told me you had a different kind of business. And first of all, seemed very clear how you focus on your clients. It was very clear that you had built a business that focused a lot on value added to your clients. And thirdly, I could tell, since I spent a lot of years in the corporate world and believed a lot in culture, I could tell you had built a pretty good business culture. Just from talking with this guy, I said, okay, I got to get to know somebody else there. And remember, I reached out to you. This goes back a few years. And because I was impressed before I even met you. And then, and
I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say.
Well, the other thing I'd say about you is that you're the epitome of what every business owner ought to get to, which is you don't have to do accounting work anymore. You're managing a business and you're focused on strategy, and as I understand it, at least used to be, that's all you do, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, you got to get to that level. And already, Joe, no offense, I'm already more excited to be with Wayne. He said some nice things about me.
John, let me tell you something. I've been with Stop with the bell. I've been with Wayne 2.5 years on this show, and I have never got him to talk that way about me. This is going to be a difficult show for me. I can already tell.
Yeah,
but John,
you can leave if you want.
Well deserved. Well deserved. His statements are well deserved, and we're happy to have you here, buddy.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Looking forward to it.
Which is why we wanted to put you on. We don't do this very often. Now, feel privileged. You understand?
I'm getting big in the chest.
We brought you on at the beginning of the show so you could help give some advice to small business people that are listening. So feel free to chime in with what we're getting ready to talk about.
Yeah, we also thought you could add a lot to this article that I found.
Wait a minute, did we actually say he has an accounting firm? Did we ever actually say that?
Oh, I guess we did. That's right. Maybe we ought to spend a little time saying.
Who is John? We know who he is, but the people listening don't know.
We like to focus on the business side. So tell us a little bit about your firm. I did overlook that. So.
Sure. So we're a CPA firm. We've got offices in Matthews, Mount Airy, North Carolina, and Greensboro. We've got about 65 people right now and 10 partners. And we focus on the small to mid-sized businesses, the $1 to $50 million entrepreneurial first generation looking to grow their companies. We provide tax consulting, audit services, outsourced accounting. We're really focused on making sure that they have the right data to make the good decisions. And it's not just accounting focused, it's really also focused on what are the culture, what are the next big decisions they need to make. We're really focused on how to helping them grow. And then we also advise on a lot of merger and acquisition activity, which I know is a big part of Joe's life, and he's very passionate about it. And so are we. We're very passionate about. That's a way that entrepreneurs a lot of times don't think about as a way to grow. So. And
you wrote a book, did you not? On
I did.
Mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, cracking the code. So how to acquire companies. There's so many books written out there on how to sell a company, but there aren't that many written out there on how to buy, especially for the small business, right? The everyday mom and pop $1 to $2 million company who's looking to expand and is having trouble maybe building into that next market, that next niche. They're having trouble with that. Another way to do it is through an acquisition.
And you know, Wayne and I have got a small business advisory group that we put together, and this came up yesterday. Mm-hmm. We've got somebody in the group that has built a very successful consignment shop, actually one of the largest consignment shops in North and South Carolina, and pretty much has the market. And so we were asking, and she was saying, you know, my sales have been flat for the last year and a half, and we asked the question, well, don't you pretty much have most of the market? You know, I mean, it's kind of hard to get more people to give you any more clothes than they already have and more people to come in and buy. It's a very large store. And I asked the question, maybe you ought to consider taking a strategic look at some purchases of some other smaller players in the area. So it's not something most small business people think about. Talk a little bit about that, because you take a competitor out of the market. Sometimes you get a lot of their skill. You can roll them into to what it is you're doing, and all of their client base now becomes yours, and you can immediately increase your bottom line and also your top line revenue by making that purchase. Talk a little bit about that on a small business level.
Yeah, you know, I think the reason people don't think about it is because they think it costs whatever the number is, whether that's $100,000 or $2 million, and they say, oh, that's how much the business sells for, so I need to have $100,000 or $2 million in the bank. And that's just not true with lending today and the low interest rates and the Small Business Administration backing so many government-backed loans for small businesses and guaranteeing up to 75% of the
especially strategic purchases, which
huge.
SBA loves. Yeah,
huge. The SBA is not great for startup capital, but it's great for when you're acquiring an already existing cash flowing business. Huge opportunity. And so I think that it really even stops there. They hear, a number with 1 or 2 commas in it, and they just, I don't have that kind of money. And that's really as far as they get. And so they never even think about it as a strategy.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about that concept is that truly, if you look at whatever that payment would be, it's probably less than the marketing you would spend on a monthly basis to try and generate those same customers.
Oh, big time. We helped a guy 2 years ago. He had hired 2 salespeople in a row to try and get into a new niche. He was huge into government contracting and was trying to get into the private sector. He was doing a few million in revenue, and he had hired a high-end salesperson. It's a tough model. He sells into S&P 500 style companies. Was paying $150,000 a year. Paid it 2 years in a row. No real positive return, no traction, and so he ended up acquiring somebody with that same $150,000.
Right.
He ended up buying a business that was doing about $1 million in revenue, and now it's taking off. And so, they just don't think about it as a strategy.
I do think it's the future. I think we're heading that direction, and we could talk more about that. Let's get. Wayne loves to challenge us with these things he finds on the on the internet, but we'll get into that more. It is one of the reasons why you and I just sort of naturally can carry on these conversations, because it is sort of the future of small business. This organic growth is getting much more expensive because the internet is leveling a playing field for everybody, including the brand new startups. If you've been in business 30 years, somebody can start up tomorrow, and on the internet, they're going to put themselves on the same level playing field with you, and you've got to have a way to combat that, and strategic purchase from time to time is a good way to go.